Welcome to EMIC Training, Growth with Creativity and Challenge.
One of the challenges we all face is change. One of the best ways to deal with change is to anticipate change, to see it coming. But that can be really hard to do, and I'll share with you one tip on how to find change, how to see change coming before it hits you, before it blindsides you. If you wanted to communicate over long distances, more than 100 years ago, you needed to use telegraph. And they were able to send dots and dashes in Morse code over long distances, and there were wires that went over the mountains and under the ocean that connected the world, and they were able to communicate using the telegraph. But all those wires and putting up all those wires was very, very difficult, and one day somebody said, I wonder if we could do it without the wires. I wonder if we could come up with a wireless telegraph. And they did. We went from wired telegraph to wireless telegraph. We went from being able to communicate through the lines to being able to communicate without lines. But then we got phones. Now we could all communicate to each other using our voices. We didn't have to use a special Morse code. We didn't have to use dots and dashes. We didn't have to be technicians. We could just be regular people. Well, now we were stringing bigger wires over the mountains and under the oceans and covering the world and connecting people using telephone. But then somebody said, wouldn't it be great if we could do it without the wires? And we developed wireless telephones, cellular telephones, mobile phones. We took the wires and we replaced them with wireless. Then we got the internet, and even bigger wires went over the mountains and under the oceans, and you could share information, and you could share web pages, and you could send emails, and you could send videos and pictures anywhere in the world almost instantaneously. But those were really, really big wires. And somebody said, I wonder if we could do it without the wires. And we did, and we got wireless internet. And now we expect wireless internet almost every single place that we go. We've seen the pattern throughout history of wired to wireless. So what's next? Well, we all still have to plug in our devices. We always have to recharge our devices. We still need electricity. Electricity still comes through the wires. So what's next? The obvious answer is wireless electricity. That might be hard to think about, but the way to know that that change is coming, and to some extent is already here, whether you're aware of it or not, if you do some research, if you do a Google search on wireless electricity, you'll discover that the science is already there and they're already developing wireless electricity options. The lesson is simple. We can see the future when we understand the past. Winston Churchill said, the farther backward we can look, the farther forward we're likely to see. If we can see patterns throughout history, if we can see things moving from one to the other, we can start to predict what's going to happen in the future. Because wireless technology has always followed wired technology, because we went from wired telegraph to wireless telegraph, because we went from wired phones to wireless phones, because we went from wired internet to wireless internet. It's possible, it's easy, it's almost simple to see the move from wired electricity to wireless electricity. If we understand our history, we can start to see the future. If we understand changes in the past, we can predict changes in the future and be prepared to handle them.
EMIC Training, Growth with Creativity and Challenge.